Name,
Sashko,
university,
Technical University of Munich,
year,
2024,
course.
Bachelor's of Physics.
So, what are the tuition fees and other mandatory expenses that you have at the uni?
There is a mandatory fee of about 200 euros, which effectively covers all your studies.
What about the campuses and their locations?
There are about 4 campuses I'm aware of. One is in the center of the city, another is on the edge. It is where I study, and it is the campus which contains all the facilities towards the natural sciences. And there are 2 others far from the city, but still connected with the university.
How hard is it to find accommodation, and what sort of prices should be expected for rent?
It is hard to find accommodation. Prices normally range from about 300 to 900 euros. And also in the later stages of your university, you can get accommodation from the student union, which costs less, let's say 300 to 400 euros.
As far as you're aware, is there a minimum attendance percentage?
For my course, at least, no.
Is there a good variety of extracurricular options?
You can sign up for a lot of classes which do not necessarily concern your field of study. You can also do a variety of sports connected to the university facilities for only 10 euros per semester.
What about the town? What about things to do there, things to see? How is the nightlife?
Can't really speak about architecture and structure of the whole city because I'm not really well versed into those topics. Nightlife is not very active, at least compared to Bulgaria. Sometimes there are no people on the streets around 3 a.m.
What about the prices of food, beverages, and other daily expenses?
If you go to a bakery, because bakeries are very common, normally a beverage would cost from around 2 up to 5 euros. Eggs cost around 2 to 3 euros. Cheese costs around 2 to 10 euros depending on what you get. Fruits and vegetables are relatively cheap. Grapes also. Meat is quite expensive, the different types of meat.
And finally, what are the public transportation options and the prices for that?
Public transport is very well developed. The suburbs and the edges of the city are really well connected to the inner parts. You can go pretty much everywhere only with public transport. You can even go hiking and to nearby lakes and seas by public transport. Cost is I pay 200 euros for my semester ticket, which allows me to visit pretty much everything within a radius of probably 100 kilometers from the city center.
And just on that, finally, what about the transport when it comes to coming into the country?
Into the country, it is pretty much straightforward because it's in the European Union. So as long as you're in the European Union, you have a lot of options. You can go with a car or with a bus or with a train from nearby countries. You can also go with a plane from pretty much everywhere. And the airports, the Munich airport is kind of far from the city, so you have to use the public transport to get from the airport to the center of the city. There is also an option to land in the nearby city Memmingen, which is around, I don't know, more than 100 kilometers, but less than, let's say, 250. And that is if you want to use cheap air companies like Ryanair and Wizz Air. But you have to take a bus from Memmingen to Munich.
Thank you very much. That was Sashko from the Technical University of Munich.